How on earth do you turn 5 lakh rupees into 10 crores? I'll tell you right now, it's not some get-rich-quick scheme or a magic trick. It's a masterclass in financial discipline. Today, we're going to dive into a pretty remarkable story that shows how a super simple product and one powerful rule can build a legit fortune. I know what you're thinking. A 200 times return on a tiny 5% profit margin? That sounds, well, it sounds impossible, right? That's the big question we're tackling today. And trust me, the answer is way simpler and, frankly, more powerful than you'd ever imagine. All right, so let's get into it. Our story kicks off with what I'm calling the engineer's gambit. You know, every great story has that one pivotal moment, and this one starts with a really smart engineer who made a life-altering bet. A bet against the safe and steady path. So first, let's just set the stage. You need to understand who we're talking about here. This was a real deal power couple. Both of them were super talented software engineers. They'd worked all over the world. France, the US, Germany. They had come back to India and landed these comfortable, high-paying corporate jobs. I mean, by any measure, they'd already made it. So this was the choice on the table. On one side, you have the secure path, a high-paying job, a predictable career, total financial stability. And on the other side, the complete unknown of an export business with absolutely no guarantees. And against all common sense, he chose the risky, unproven path. So, what exactly was this risky venture he jumped into? This brings us to part 2, a bet on quality. And it wasn't some complex, high-tech startup. No, this was a business built on a surprisingly simple product and, more importantly, an obsession with making it the best. And here's the number that started it all, 5 lakh rupees. That was the seed capital. Now that's a decent chunk of change for sure, but it's what this little seed grew into that is just astonishing. So what did he spend that 5 lakhs on? Get this, red chilies. Yep, red chilies. But, and this is the crucial part, not just any red chilies. He put all his effort into sourcing top-tier organic ones to export. From day one, the entire business was built on the foundation of quality. And boom, this was the breakthrough moment. That big bet on quality, it paid off in a huge way. The German importer was so blown away by the product that they basically gave him a blank check. That quote right there, that's the exact moment this whole thing went from being a small side hustle to a massive scalable business. Okay, so this brings us to the real secret sauce of the whole story. He had the demand, it was off the charts. So how did he scale up to meet it? It wasn't about finding more customers or fancy marketing. The answer was all about one simple, incredibly powerful financial rule. The rule was simple, and it was absolute. Take zero money out of the business. Not 1 rupee. Every bit of profit stayed in. Now you're probably wondering, how did they live? Well, that was possible only because his wife's salary covered all their household expenses. That financial teamwork was the key that unlocked everything. And that one simple rule allowed them to harness the incredible power of compound returns. It's basically the idea of reinvesting your profits to make even more profits. So the money they made from the first chili shipment wasn't spent. It was used to buy an even bigger second shipment. Then the profit from that bigger shipment funded an even bigger third one. It's like a snowball rolling down a hill. It just keeps getting bigger and faster on its own. So, what happens when you follow a strategy like this, not for a month, not for a year, but for a full decade? Let's take a look at the incredible power of patience in part 4, a decade of returns. And this timeline makes it crystal clear. This was not an overnight success. You can see it from the launch and reinvesting those first profits. Things are slow. But then right around year 5, the growth just explodes. It starts to accelerate like crazy, leading to that massive valuation by year 10. Patience was the fuel for this whole engine. And you know, here's the part of the story that just blows my mind. The gross profit was only about 7 to 9%. After you factor in taxes and other costs, the net profit was a tiny 5%. This wasn't some super high-margin business. It was a high-discipline business. That little 5% slice, reinvested over and over and over again, was the engine for everything. So, let's just go back to the beginning for a second. This is where the whole journey started. 5 lakh rupees. And 10 years later, this is where it ended up, 10 crores. That is a 200-fold increase. I mean, that contrast says it all. It's the perfect picture of what compounding does. It turns small, consistent gains into extraordinary wealth over time.
So, okay, how can you actually apply this? In our final section, we're going to boil this entire story down into what we can call the core formula, the simple, actionable steps behind this incredible result.
Here's the path. It really is a simple recipe. It all starts with an obsession with quality, a great product. That quality then creates real, strong market demand. Once you have that demand, you need unwavering financial discipline. That discipline is what allows you to do the most important part: reinvest 100% of the profits. And of course, none of it works without the final secret ingredient: just being patient and letting it all grow. So the main lessons here are pretty clear. First, you don't need huge profit margins to build incredible wealth. Second, financial discipline is your secret weapon. It's the engine that makes everything go. Third, especially early on, reinvesting every penny is way more powerful than taking a salary. And finally, patience isn't just a virtue, it's a financial strategy. And that really brings us to the final and most important question. This whole amazing story wasn't about some complicated app or algorithm. It was about red chilies. It just proves that this formula can work for almost anything. So I want you to think about it. What is your red chili idea? And more importantly, do you have the discipline to let it compound for the next decade?